All right, look at that.
Yeah.
Get your wires straight there, man.
I'm all wired in. I'm like the magazine. I'm all wired. All right.
Yes.
I'm wired. I'm wired now.
Look at that.
So
Here we are.
here we are.
I know.
You forced me on
I forced you to join me.
a conversation.
I've been
It
doing
must
them
be
all.
special.
All myself, and this is one that you can partake in. It's a really good conversation, always with my good friend Chris.
I know. I was playing with him and meet me on the second floor. Meet me at the downstairs. Wait.
Go to the Black Hat sign. No, not that Black Hat
Wait.
sign. No,
I'll
different
come
one.
there. No, I was trying to trick him. I heard that's a new thing. Trick people.
Socially engineering. I like it.
Yeah, Chris, always great to see you.
It's good to see you both.
I was remembering the other day how long back we go. I think RSA conference, I don't even know what.
I think we were on cassette recorders, right? Actually,
Yeah, we had tape. I had a pencil. I had a pencil to rewind it. But now the new generation is like, what are they talking about?
yeah.
A pencil and a tape? What?
Oh my
It was
gosh.
VHS, and I got fined for not rewinding.
Oh yeah. You gotta be kind rewind. Do you remember that?
Be kind, rewind. Exactly.
Well,
Let's see if you remember to return it in the first place.
Oh, yeah, when you get hit by those fees that were just compounding, it's like you buy
That's right.
5 movies for the price of that
That's
one.
right. I hate to see my Blockbuster account. Yeah.
yeah, I still try to return Netflix when after I watch it. It's like, and now what do I do with this?
right.
Oh yeah, it's mine. No, I'm excited to chat with you
Yeah.
because you always give us all this very happy news about how we all live happily in this society and we don't have to worry about anything.
Nah, everything's bliss. It's just, it's peachy keen.
That's
just
right.
great. Yeah. Everything's good.
Well, let's start with we are in Las Vegas at Black Hat.
We are.
Long day.
Yeah.
This is our last conversation for the day. And
The last recording for the day, but best for last, maybe.
I like
yeah,
it. I
definitely
like it.
chilling and relaxing, sitting on a chair. We're missing a drink, but that's okay.
We need an ice and an umbrella.
We definitely go find one of those after this. We'll definitely find
I
one.
think-
think they might serve a couple of those here.
If you wait long enough, I think so. But yeah, I think if people have been listening to ITSP magazine, I hope they did. They must have heard Chris Pierson
Hope so.
with BlackCloak. So for those, like 3-4 people in the world that don't know who you are, who is Chris?
Yeah, no. So I'm the CEO founder of BlackCloak. We got a great company, great team, and really love the mission of what we're doing. Our overall mission is, we protect digital lives. A little bit of a ... for corporate executives, their families, the C-suite board, as well as just really, really highly exposed persons. Those people are consistently targeted in their personal lives. The 50-person C-suite team of a Fortune 50 company, of a Fortune 100 company, right? They're protected on the inside four walls of the company by the CISO, by the CSO. But their husband, wife, kids, significant other, in their personal lives, they have the same risks. They're massively targeted by both cyber criminals and intelligence organizations, and as a result, they're a really juicy target, and a problem there could go ahead and cause a problem back at the company. Could cause material cyber risk back at a company if you take those individuals offline or extort them or ransom them or steal money. And so BlackCloak is all about digital executive protection. That's what we do, and that's what we partner with, the CISOs and the CSOs.
And clearly, not clearly, I think the executives and their family, the executives want their families to be safe, right? Regardless, of course, they don't want it to bleed back into the business as well. But how have executives responded to the work you're providing them? I mean, there's, probably a few different style or scenarios where we know we need something, Chris comes in, we're all good, or we know we need something because something happened, Chris comes in and helps clean it up, or Chris has been helping us, but now we see there are new situations arising, and Chris is going to help us understand that new world of
You
I
said
don't know.
Chris like he's the only one in the company.
I was about to say that Chris guy is darn busy.
Chris guy's darn busy. But
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
But-
The broader Chris,
team.
aka BlackCloak. But things change all the time,
Oh, but that's what's really cool about it.
right?
You know, proactively, yeah, BlackCloak will be there. We'll go ahead and mitigate those risks, take care of those things on the front end. We'll be there in the incident response. You know, sometimes it's hellish situations where the company has been hacked and they actually have the information on the executives and are directly targeting them. Sometimes they're incident response teams too. We've dealt with a few of those. And so we'll protect them in their personal lives, full-blown incident response on the personal side. And then there are others where it's hey, you know, all is well and good and everything's moving along nicely, but then X, Y, and Z incident happens. And it could be the corporate iteration has a riff of, 500 people, and all of a sudden there becomes a massive attention on the people that are at the top, or, you increase drug prices 400%, and all of a sudden, once again, massive concentration of risks target on them. And changing economies, global world issues. Olympics has caused some issues for people that are there. Obviously, elections, we never talk politics, but when you have elections and election cycles, those are some of the folks that we protect too. And so there's a lot of different influences there. I mean, these are all compounding effects that happen over time. And even things that you can't control, like a breach, an AT&T breach. Well, that has an impact because I don't know what the stats are. 40% of America has AT&T mobile phones, whatever it might be. Those are items and incidents that can cause massive spikes of risk that need to be mitigated because they could impact. And so, we'd love to be there at any part of the journey. Obviously, proactively is always the best. Nice, calm, cool situation, able to show improved value and worth. The concierge gets built in there, and you get the relationship. But I mean, if things are going bad and people need to come in with fire extinguishers and just get you out and save the day and stuff like that, we will partner with the CISO, the CSO to go ahead and get that done. And those can be exciting too, because it's instantaneous identification of reward and value. And our team is so mission driven. It's but anytime that we can help, it's really what we're driven to do.
Yeah, I always like the concept from the beginning that you share with us, and I particularly like the concierge concept because you're dealing with their personal life. You're not in the office and say, "Don't do that." No, you can't touch that computer. No, you can't open that software. It's a completely different story. But when you started this, I think the landscape, I'm not going to say it was easy, otherwise you wouldn't do this business. But now it seems few years in the game, so much more complex. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, like every time we talk about it, there is something new.
Yeah.
And I know you want to talk about something
Yeah.
kind of on the edge here.
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting is, look, there's always going to be a cyber arms race out there in terms of cyber criminals that are looking for financial gain. In 2000, there was no real great way to go ahead and receive payment. People were doing Western Union and drops and stuff like that. And, now with cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and all the rest, the ability to have that money transferred has enabled a whole different rise of different types of cybercrime or different modes of cybercrime. And we're seeing the same thing. 6 years ago, it's been 6 years.
Wow.
6 years ago, deepfakes as a topic. When you get those funny clips of Tom Cruise being superimposed over I don't know, Brad Pitt's face in Ocean's 11 or something. It's like, okay, you can kind of like see there's some things there and a little trickery, but it's a 30-second clip or something, some funny thing. But as a team of engineers running 300 supercomputers behind the scenes that worked for 6 months just to prove that the technology was there and that you could do light and the shading and all the rest of it. It's like super amazing stuff. We all watched it here. We're all snickering. We all can remember different ones. But it's like, right now, 3 seconds, 5 seconds of video input, a few good high-res face shots, which, by the way, all the executives have and the board members have because they're all right on the website for the companies. Download the deepfake toolkit #1 right here on the website.
Or they're on CNBC or something.
Yeah, they've been on TV.
Doing their the quarterly profit.
You have all, and you have that video file, you have that audio file, the things there. And what's amazing is that with the technology now, it's a little bit of that. You don't even need a real computer. You can do this with just keyboard and monitor, so to speak. you're able to upload those items, create that full, right, 1 minute, 3 minute video, audio file. And what we have now seen, and there have been multiple stories that are out there, but we're now seeing the deep fakes reach, right, absolutely reach those three kind of key executives, the CEO, the general counsel, and the CFO. They're kind of the folks that at the company people listen to. Hey, the CFO needs X, Y, and Z money to go out, or else it's your rear end. We got to get this deal done. You were just bringing you in right now, Marco, because you're the guy, and we're depending on you. And let's go ahead and get that done. And with the right audio file, with the right video file, we're able to make that go in a way that actually makes the person believe that they're talking to that real person. And so we're seeing the direct targeting of those individuals, of those key individuals. And once again, it's like you know, Mark or Sean, you say on the audio file.
Yeah.
You know, everyone that's a publicly traded company that has an public earnings report and all the rest. These are high quality audio files. You got great audio feeds there. Then they're showing up later on CNBC and Market Watch and all the rest. And it's like you get more great voice and digital video. It creates a perfect storm by which you can go ahead and find who are the newbie, who are the new people at the company, who's someone here, who's the comptroller, deputy comptroller, or whatever, and you're able to morph into a, hey, we want to, I need something, I want to get on that real time Zoom call with you, but we have to be really careful, right? We can't chase the technology. Right, there's a little bit of, we should be watermarking every single deepfake that happens. Well, that's not going to happen because cyber criminals are going to pay by those rules. Mm-hmm. So there's an issue there. Well, we're just going to go ahead and protect all the, for example, Teams or Zoom calls. Well, that's great, but cyber criminals aren't going to go on and play by the rules there. You go ahead and you have a solution that integrates with X, Y, and Z. I'm just going to call you on your desk phone. I'm going to call you on your cell phone. I'm going to FaceTime with you. I'm going to go ahead and use some embedded app and reach out to you some other way and some other mechanism. You can't control the medium of how these attacks are going to happen. And that's what we're seeing. What's cool is, yes, there'll be attacks that happen on the official corporate issued mode of communication. But smart attackers are going to say, we don't have to play by your rules, right? You built the mode over here and you put the alligators in it. That's wonderful. Like, it looks super scary. We're probably going to get our legs bitten off and die. But we're going to go this way because every single time you tell us we must go that way and we built a control and we bought a control that way, I'm not going that way. I'm going to go around you. And
I'm going to wait for you to go out to the coffee shop.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, it's funny is right now we're seeing people chase the, well, let's lock down this mechanism, this mechanism, this mechanism, but there are 20 other mechanisms that are wide open. And that ability to verify that the individual is who they say they are is kind of fleeting. Look, we're seeing the attacks happen. We're seeing them happen in the personal lives, especially the extortion and ransom ones there are getting more complicated, and they're opportunistic. But the financial transfer one is huge. I mean, those are instantaneous money. And if the person doesn't know enough and time passes by, the recovery assets team, the RAT team for the FBI Secret Service, right? It's harder for them to go ahead and put that full wire stop on the transfer of items. It's popping. It is popping. It's becoming a really, really interesting attack surface. And the CSO and the CISO are the ones that are going to be asked. It might not be the ones that it's like, well, you should protect from all of this. They're the ones that should be thinking about it. They're the ones that should be talking about it. They're the ones that should be, offering advice and guidance and making sure that they know what is possible and what isn't possible within the realm of the universe right now. But we're seeing it a lot more. We're seeing a lot more. And you can't just, let's talk about executives. It's executives and their families.
Yep.
And their families. If the husband of the CEO, she's well trained, she's well this, she knows the different tactics and listens to the board meeting. The husband's in a different sector, or maybe not even working or whatever, stuff like that. They don't know. It's still a lens in, it's still an open door into the home. And you take that husband offline, you are absolutely taking the wife, the CEO, offline. It's going to impact the company. It's going to impact the family. It's going to impact that executive.
Yeah, and then you get the kids, or you brought the example of the castle. Like, well, I'm going to target the people that work inside the castle. I mean, you go back to technique that we've been using forever. Since society exists, there's been social engineering in a way or another. And it's just that now it's getting very complicated, very complex. And there was another one that you say is pretty hot now, which is the SIM swap. Tell me about that. 'Cause your phone, it's like your life nowadays.
It's one of those perplexing items. Look.
Can you describe it quickly for folks who don't know what it is?
So every single phone, a Motorola phone, an Apple phone, an HTC phone, whatever, right? You have that actual phone and device, and it differs by carrier. Your AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, Sprint, etc. And right. Some have physical SIM cards, which actually allows for the numerical identification uniquely of that phone and the service, the cellular service. Some have the eSIM card, which is kind of hardwired on the actual device, and many have both, which is kind of cool because you can actually have dual mechanisms. You can have like a separate private number on the device and kind of have that context switching. But there are two things that cyber criminals love to do. Number one is change your phone from one carrier to another carrier. That's called porting your phone. I no longer want to be on carrier A, I'm going to port it to carrier B. When they port a phone to another carrier, they can then go ahead and kind of take over the communications that are coming through that phone. Think about dual factor authentication via SMS. Is going to be the biggest exposure, or potentially getting access into other items that are on that device or text messages and stuff like that, whether it's embarrassment, reputation risk, all the rest. SIM swapping allows you to actually add on and change where those communications go. So I might get it on my phone, but now I'm also, the bad guy is able to get it on their phone. So I can get that dual factor authentication through SMS on that phone. And it just creates a really problem area.
And in that case, you don't know. Right.
And in many cases you don't know. Now, the carriers are getting a little bit better of, hey, we noticed a change in your account. Hey, we noticed this, but there's still going to be an N+1 time of, like, is that today you notice? I'm a busy executive. I'm not paying attention to this. It's like, so tomorrow I recognize it. The next day I recognize it. There are problems and issues there. But it's one of those things where there's almost always some type of lag, and the phone carriers, probably 3 years ago, they really started with, okay, well, you can lock down the phone from being ported. So, okay, you check that box. You can lock down the SIM card from being swapped. Yep. Okay, we can put in a magic PIN, but it doesn't apply when you actually have insiders within an organization that is, lured by cyber criminals of, hey, $5,000 for access into break. Because you're going to net $30,000, you're going to net $25,000, you're going to net, if you target key people, it could be the way into the organization. Could be the way absolutely into the organization. And so they're actually paying money and recruiting for this kind of like, digital mules, so to speak, within the carrier landscape. It's scary because you depend upon your phone and knowing that its communications are safe. More so that you're like, isn't even your communications like app communication, email communication, but just the fact of the electronic communication of your phone to the cell tower, to the carrier, is yours and yours alone, and it's not cloned, and it's not riding on some other network that you don't have control over. And it's kind of just fundamentals of communication overall. Most people don't have home phones anymore. The phone, the cell phone, is your lifeblood. It's absolutely your lifeblood. But we're seeing a really big uptick in this, and this is one that unfortunately, right, it's got to be solved by the community, by the carriers and others working in collaboration with them. But it's really a bigger problem.
So, question. You've worked with celebrities, C-level, CEO. People that are target because they get into that. It's a lot of money. So it's kind of like the intelligence that could be an investment for someone to do it. So someone that is listening, probably the majority of people listening right now may be like, I'm not that person. But technology could affect that as well.
It absolutely could affect them. And here's the interesting thing is that, well, there are 4.8 million high net worth, ultra net worth people in the U.S. It's 5 million and above is how it's defined. Just say that somebody has $200,000 in the, right. For a cyber criminal not living in the U.S., that is a gold mine.
It's retirement.
You know, that is a gold mine. I don't know what the rate would be in, you know, but it's like $5,000 of money stolen here, $5,000 of USD, right, is worth, you know, same equivalent of what we would maybe picture as 200,000 or 500,000 or, you know, whatever it is in terms of that person's ability to change their livelihood. But then secondarily, you know, the $5,000 times 100,000 is a really, really big number. And so it doesn't have to be just a target of, oh my gosh, this has to be targeted at, you know, kind of like the Elon Musks of the world, people that are on the Forbes billionaire list. It's not exclusive to that. Any latch in could give someone a edge, both in terms of, you know, financial, but also back into the company, because for many people they're using some type of dual factor, and some companies are on SMS for some different, right? At least they have dual factor, but small business and stuff like that, some of them are not, right? They're not on authenticators, they're not in YubiKeys, they're on others.
What if the executive probably has more than 200 grand, but
Yeah.
I don't know, couple million, few million, 10, 20, 30, whatever.
Yeah.
Some millions of money. But the company has much, much more.
Mm-hmm.
So are you seeing some of these attacks where they're not just after the individual's money,
Yep.
but
Oh yeah.
they're thinking that the individual will leverage the company to help resolve
We see both.
Yeah.
We see both. The interesting thing is that in the personal, you know, if you're attacking someone who is, you know, the CFO for Acme Widget Corporation, and they've been in the news, they had a good, you know, M&A or something pop up and all the rest, or expanding offices, hiring 100 people, you know, that's paid attention to. They know that they have money, and so those executives are going to make money, and they'll target them. And remember, there are no policies and no procedures in their personal life. There's no controls really in their personal life. It's a pretty thin veil to pierce and to get through. On the corporate side, right, that's where the payoff comes, is you go ahead and you compromise that area. And just like we saw, I think it was a CEO in Singapore or Japan, right, $25 million from a deep fake in. Same thing in terms of the risk of a SIM card swap and being able to kind of control messaging there. There's a lot to lose. And anytime you're talking about a scam and not a hack. So a hack is going to be, right, actual 0-day, actually malware, actually hacking the company. Yes, cybersecurity insurance will apply. Some cybersecurity insurance has what's called crime policy. Crime policy is going to protect you when you get scammed or defrauded and you willingly hand over money that you thought was, right, supposed to go to that different bank account or to that different person, or you're duped by a deep fake. Sometimes, right, crime policies are part of cybercrime policies. Definitely, audience, check yours. Sometimes they're part of it. A lot of times they're not, and you need both. But if there's an internal, if you want to go ahead and fight the good fight in terms of make sure that if something bad happens, if someone messes up, if this, that, the other, right, that you actually have that crime or cybercrime policy. It protects you for when you are scammed and defrauded, as opposed to held up at gunpoint. Two very, very different areas. Two different areas of law, two different areas of insurance, but yeah, they're both likely to happen.
Talk to me about response.
Yeah.
You mentioned that early on, and some of the conversations I had leading up to Black Hat were around metrics and success. Are we doing any better? Is defense winning, or are we making progress here? And I'm just thinking about an individual. Now, CISO might be more savvy than most in terms of security. But when it starts to get into fraud and scams and things like that, less about a firewall control, the process to respond is very, very different. And I presume you have a lot of experience in seeing what's going on and the steps to take, who to contact when and who. And if you don't have that, I can just see this mess of things that you might miss a deadline where your policy is no longer, it may have been, but it's no longer, or you notify the wrong person, and that trips a trigger that prevents other stuff from happening properly. So I don't know, talk to me about how important knowing that process and having experience with it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's key and quintessential to everything that BlackCloak does is time really is money. The mean time to response, mean time to remediate there's a clock that is ticking in terms of the number of steps that happen of wire transfers from bank A to B to C to D before it's totally untouchable. There's a mean time to response in terms of when somebody's floated money that they thought was really supposed to go someplace. There's a lot that needs to happen there in a pretty quick fashion. A lot of times it's not quote unquote cyber in terms of a malware response, a remediated computer issue response. A lot of times it's a, hey, get on with the bank, let's go do this, let's go ahead and get those accounts locked down, let's go ahead and get those information over to IC3, over to Secret Service or FBI so the RAT team can go ahead and try to freeze those assets wherever they are, or at least get those orders in the system. You might not be able to recover it all, but you most certainly will recover none if you just sit by. It's really going to be enact things as quickly as possible in terms of kind of chasing things down there. So really, speed and time do matter. It's almost like emergency medicine. I mean, that golden hour. You want the person, if they need surgery, you want them in the operating room in 60 minutes. That was the. Back when I was a EMT and a firefighter, that was like hammered into you. It's like you got to be, if you have to be on the table, you got to be there in 60 minutes. Don't drive like a bat out of hell, but you got to be there in 60 minutes. And it's the same thing in terms of cyber. Knowing the banks, knowing the different things that happen there. It gets more complicated the longer the chain gets, and the more foreign banks are included in that chain. But really, speed, time to response, and is super important in keeping the people. It's also interesting keeping your clients calm during that period of time and getting focused on doing is absolutely critical and key. We just had a new client. Now they're new. They lost about $300,000 in a business email compromise. Still one of the fastest growing cybercrimes out there. Simple, right? Insert into the email chain. They see the chain of things. They register a similarly situated type of squatted domain. It looks the same visually. You can't see unless you do the magnifying glass. And lo and behold, right? Not them. They insert themselves in. They say, hey, quick change to the. In this case was aging AP AR type of thing. And hey, our bank account is no longer this. We changed it, and here it is now, and the money's out. But 7 days later, unfortunately, it's tough times, very tough times.
Well, I think again, it's always fascinating to have this conversation, and we'll have more. But I think that people that are potential target to this, they offer the service that you offer them and you provide. It's not just response. You brought the example because Sean asked you about it. Yeah. It's not like, oh, something happened, I'm going to call the lawyer. Which again, we need to call the experts. Yep. But you also prepare them when you are onboarded. You at BlackCloak, you do a setup of preventive operation, preparing, monitoring. Yep. And then if something happened or is about to happen, you're there to either hold on, call the guy before you do anything, right? Or, okay, something happened, but we know exactly what to do at this time.
And a lot of this is, we all, we're technologists, so you go with technology controls and all the rest. A lot of this is actually what we call hardening the human. Yeah. People are smart.
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying.
People are smart, right? Treat them with respect. Bring them up on the encyclopedic version of what you want them to know. Not to go in. We're here at Black Hat. We don't need to go into binaries, right? Keep them updated on. These are the different tactics. This is how you spot it. This is how you slow down the time clock, so you can identify it. Don't make the rash choices. Phone a friend. Phone BlackCloak is what we always want, or click on your trusty app there. But what we want to do is slow down that time and really help people be able to spot and identify those things that are coming in at them. Because it's all going to change. Like the means and mechanisms are going to change. All the current stuff, all of these things are the old shell games that just made new again. It's the same tactics that have worked for many, many years. They're just updating them and all the rest. So, but you gotta pay attention to the human.
I think the lesson here, if you get a Spanish prisoner letter or a Nigerian prince, just think twice or call BlackCloak.
There you go. I like it. I like it a lot.
All right, cool. Well, we're gonna wrap this here as a first day of a very long line of conversation, mostly done by Sean, with very, very interesting topic. I think I listened to all of them, so I'm tired too.
That's right.
I'm more tired than you. And there's one last.
They're all very different and unique in their own way.
Yeah.
And I think we all have the same goal, which is your vision, which is to protect society from all the digital craziness we have.
And I think that's what we try to do too. We share the knowledge, and maybe we may help people to think a little bit more, and we want them to stay tuned. Of course, if they are interested in the service that BlackCloak provide, there is, of course, the website. There'll be notes on this conversation to go there, but it's blackcloak.io, right?
That's right.
I remember that.
That's right.
I've done this before. And
there's this guy, Chris.
And this guy,
He's a very
Chris,
busy guy, Chris.
which answered 10 phone calls
That's right.
all at the same time, and he types.
That's the only people we hire.
He'll answer your call too.
Speedy Gonzalez.
He'll answer your call.
We had a bunch of Chris's, a bunch of Christines, a bunch of Christies.
Who you gonna call? And for the rest of you listening to our coverage of BlackCloak, of BlackCloak or Black Hat.
As I'm sitting here looking at Chris in his black
t-shirt.
cloak shirt, I was envisioning the Black Hat story.
Yeah,
as well.
exactly. That's why I got confused. But for all of you following our coverage, because you're not here, stay tuned. There'll be many more stories coming to you as a video, as an audio. And we may actually go back in the old school writing a piece too. We had this idea. We may do that for this particular Black Hat 2024. Stay tuned. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you,
Thank
Chris.
you both. Thanks, Sean, Marco. Appreciate it.